Voice, 17104 Harrisburg, with Brother Chris Thomas. Right there, as you can see, he's the man that owns the station and makes it happen for us every Friday night. We're here, and we're so glad to be here. And we hope that you are going to join us in any way that you possibly can, whether just stop by on Facebook and watch the program, or if you decide that you want to, read some of your poetry, come on down. We'd love to have you. And not just poetry, by the way. We're open to all authors of all genres. And we don't allow, profanity, and also, the sexualized stuff. This is not this kind of platform. We're a family-oriented platform, and we just want to make sure that, everybody gets a chance to express themselves and just have a good time enjoying the word, the spoken word, if you will. So many good, great things going on in the community, and I hope that you're in the holiday seasons. Those who are of us who are Christians, and people say, "Oh, you shouldn't call yourself a Christian," whatever. We are celebrating the birth of Christ and all that entails, and being blessed for his giving his life for us. We might have the possibility of life everlasting, our sins being forgiven, all of that, And so we're very, very happy to always celebrate Christ in his fullness and understand that he is the reason for the season. And then there's other holidays going on as well. I must mention Kwanzaa, which is a cultural celebration. It's not a holiday, it's a cultural celebration. I saw where somebody on one of those, I don't know if it's Fox or whoever, they were asking the question whether or not Kwanzaa is on the decline. And they said, yeah, it's on the decline because there's not a lot of black separatist, black nationalist activity anymore, some kind of silliness. Well, it wasn't on the decline for us here in Harrisburg. Last Saturday, we had a wonderful time, a wonderful program, our Kwanzaa program over at the Camp Curtin Academy, which is a school of the Harrisburg School District. And thank you, Brother Chris. He's bringing up some pictures there. You see, that's our buddy Nicole Wilkerson. Nicole was the events planner, or is the events planner for almost everything we do. And she was honored as well there at Kwanzaa for, through the Nguza Saba. As you can see, she Kuji Chagalia, self-determination was her plaque. And, well deserved. And there she is with her mother and myself there. And we were just happy to honor Nicole Wilkerson, who makes it happen. Nicole's a great person. Howard University grad, I always like to say, and that's her cousin there as well. We had a great time. And, the turnout was excellent too, by the way. We always kind of start off slow in the morning, and you wonder, how we can pick that up a little bit. But in the afternoon, people just came flooding in. And I will say too that there were some outstanding other events going on all last Saturday. Bethesda Mission had something down on Italian Lake. You had a bunch of tents up, and a whole bunch of people went through for their Christmas celebration. And then they had something, I believe, at the Camp Curtin Y MCA, or one of the areas where they were doing something for youth that looked like that was actually outstanding and doing some good stuff. And I can go on and on and on. There were a lot of great programs going on. And so to have that many people show up to our event was truly a blessing and, a testament to, people looking for good things to do here in Harrisburg. As you can see some of the vendors there sitting close with the little hat on. That's Val Gray. And Val is one of our guests. She's a professor of English over at Harrisburg Area Community College. You can see that the gym was filled with vendors and very colorful. The food was excellent too, by the way. Really, really good food. And Joe Bedard here in the hat leaning over. He was the one that gave out all those books. This is Maria Chow, one of the great poets in our area, great poet, period. She just knows how to do it. Her and Rob Brady, they were doing a table together, and man, they're just great collaborators. And I forget my sister's name. Let me see if I can see who. Okay. Well, I'm drawing a blank, but the brother in the back, he's with us all the time. Good brother out of Lancaster. And also the brother there standing with the green shirt on, he was there with the Truth program. They manned our children's area. Theirs is the Winterman African Dance Community with Lark Daniels. They were spectacular this year. They really did an excellent job. They're just picking it up and growing. I have to give them credit. So, and you can see the drummers in the back there. There's some folks enjoying the dance and all the other activities going on. Just real nice setup. And can't thank the vendors enough for coming out and supporting it the way they do. The vendors are our primary supporters because they give, a vendor's fee, and then they're able to sell their wares. And, it's kind of always hit and miss. I mean, sometimes people are in the mood for what you have and sometimes they're not, but the vendors, many of them have come out year after year after year. So they do well, and they support because they enjoy the spirit of what Kwanzaa stands for. And, I just can't thank them enough. I also want to thank the Foundation for Enhancing Communities gave a grant this year, not necessarily just for Kwanzaa, but to the Writers' Workshop, which was helpful. And also Dr. Joyce Davis and her husband, Russell Goodman, a dynamic duo, dynamic team of people. Pastor Goodman, and his wife supported the Wordshop and gave a generous donation. We can't thank them enough for what they did. But for everybody who just came out and support, you were a supporter, you were a sponsor of the program, because without an audience, a program is not a program. So we truly appreciate everybody who poured into our annual Kwanzaa program. And we have another program coming up this coming Sunday, which is only a couple of days away now. This is Friday, and tomorrow's Saturday, and then this Sunday. And we have Dr. Yamoja Smalls coming in. What an outstanding artist she is. She created that flyer that you see right there. We find a way or make one. We're honoring 8 dynamic women from our community who are artists in their own right and who have really over the years sustained themselves through their poetry, whatever. That's a picture of Dr. Yamoja Smalls. As you can see, the sister's very, very artistic, very Afrocentric, and a serious scholar, by the way. And it is going to be her birthday as well. Her and her twin brother are going to be celebrating their birthday. And she has been a national speaker at the national conferences for the Delta Sigma Theta sorority. So she's going to bring her presentation to us. We're asking all the Deltas out there, all the Deltas, in this area, please come out and support your sister, Dr. Yamoja Smalls, and show the sister some love. As you can see, that's Sharia Ben. We all know and love Sharia Ben. She is the founder of the Sankofa African American Theater Company. And did they not put on a fantastic presentation of Black Nativity across the river there? But we were blessed enough to go see it. And I mean, those people could sing. That was a great, great production. Thank you, Sharia Ben, for bringing that kind of energy to our community. Plus, we have a lot of other women that we're honoring as well. And Brother Chris, if you have some of those pictures, you want to bring them up, that'd be great. I can identify who they are. But they will all be honored. And there will be an outstanding presentation from Dr. Smalls on Sunday, which is the 17th of December. And it'll be at the State Museum, Pennsylvania, which is at 300 North Street here in Harrisburg. And, it's going to be in the auditorium, and we're going to have a great time. And I hope that you will come out, bring your whole family, because it's something for the whole family. And, the program's worthy of your attention. This is Julia Mallory. Julia is an outstanding poet, writer. She is also an expert in grief and grief recovery. And she's doing a lot of great artistic stuff within our community in a lot of different ways. And she's been a friend of the Writers' Workshop for years. We're so glad to have Sister Julia Mallory as one of our honorees come Sunday. And so we hope that you will come out and support Julia. She's an author of great note, and also she is someone who's an excellent presenter as well. And this Ro Bradley, we can only have to bring her picture up because there she is. That's Ro Bradley, one of our honorees come Sunday. And Ro is an outstanding writer, plus she's a poet, she's a novelist, she's a theater, creator of theater and a director. And also she's created her own business now. So she's an entrepreneur doing editing and so many other things, ghostwriting and all that good stuff. So Ro, good to see you.
You too.
All right, all right. Last time I saw you, I think was Saturday of last week, Oh, by the way, that is Andrea Fulton. Andrea is, of course, the founder and director of ABW Productions, which puts on that large, beautiful fashion show every year for Kwanzaa, but all throughout the year. In fact, they just celebrated 30 years of existence. And Andrea is a beautician, and she is a cosmetologist by trade, and she is a fashion designer. And so well deserved to have Andrea Fulton be lifted up for all the work that she's done in a very artistic way in our community. What I love about what Andrea does is she uses local people as well. and of all ages, and they know how to strut their stuff too. And my man John Clark, I got to mention John Clark. John is, I'm sure John is in his 80s, well into his 80s at this point, and he's always one of the highlights of the fashion. He comes out with the swagger, and he knows how to work the crowd. And everybody loves to see John Clark out there walking the runway. So it's good stuff. And who else do we have? Oh, Wendy Noche Onye, a great poet who, has graced the Writers' Workshop for a few years now. Her and her son both. Taff is in college. He's in the sophomore year, and they're doing great stuff. Wendy will be honored as well on Sunday. And Wendy, as you know, has a wonderful poetic voice and does a lot of great stuff in our community. And who else we got? Brother Chris. I know there's some other pictures I think I sent your way of people that we're going to be honoring. And I don't want to lift up the name unless the picture comes up. But I'm telling you, I hope that you'll come out on Sunday. Maria Chow. I think Ro knows Maria because they're buddies. They do a lot of stuff together. And in fact, Maria wrote an outstanding play called Hair Story. And Ro was the director of the play, Hair Story. And the two of them together actually vend together last Saturday at Kwanzaa. And so, hello, I'm Deaf. Who's this here person? From Austin, here to me. Okay. Person says they're deaf. Well, I don't know if we have a thing that shows the script. I don't know if Brother Chris can do that or not. I've seen that on some, like on Facebook, whatever. But if that's possible, I don't know if it is, Brother Chris. If you could employ that, that device, that'd be great for our person who's coming on who's deaf. I don't know if they read lips or anything like that, but yeah. So, but I'm glad you're on. But anyhow, so Sunday at 2:00 at the State Museum. Again, it's 300 North Street in Harrisburg. You want to be there. Nancy Mendez is an outstanding award-winning artist, and you have to see some of her artwork. And she's been at it for years. Nancy, Ro, Wendy are all also judges and also mentors for the AXO program, which is the Afro Academic, Cultural, Technological, Scientific Olympics. It's sponsored through the NAACP nationwide, and it's a great program for young people. And Nancy Mendez is also one of our honorees. We're so glad to have her, be lifted up because she's been doing her work a lot for years, and she should be lifted up. All these outstanding women that we're honoring on Sunday, December the 17th. It's a free program. Our keynote speaker is Dr. Umoja Smalls, but all these women will have an opportunity to say something to the audience, and also they'll be vending. They'll have their wares there, whatever it is that they are selling, whether it be books or, paintings or, whatever. They will be there vending. They'll be the only vendors, in fact. All of our honorees will be lifted up and able to, hopefully you'll come down and support them. All right. And that flyer is just outstanding. I just can't get over that flyer, Yeah. So, Ro, what's going on with yourself?
Oh, I just woke up from a long nap.
Oh, that's good.
I came home from work. I was like, my body said, no, we just lay it down. No.
You're still teaching, aren't you?
When I came back from Washington, I started subbing again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's excellent. That's great. Well, that's teaching. Come on now.
I was at my old school today. I was at CD.
Oh,
Yeah, at the high
nice.
school.
Okay.
I was subbing over there. Saw one of the science teachers. We were in the same hall for I don't know how many years together.
Uh-huh.
It was like a little reunion.
That's great. Good
Yeah.
stuff. Good stuff. Yeah. All right. Well, anyhow, I hope you enjoy Kwanzaa.
I did, but I enjoy it every year.
I do too. I really do. Yeah. And I just keep saying to myself, we're just gonna make it bigger and better. The one thing I really want to do this year is go really go after funding. I mean, I've never been one of those people to just go after, but I really want funding in order to bring in other people that folks might want to hear, whatever. There's some outstanding storytellers, both in Baltimore, Philadelphia, New York, that are within our reach. You know what I mean? I love to bring them in, as well as, of course, here in Harrisburg. And then there's a group that we had in once before. Oh boy, okay. But anyway, I'm gonna call the names in a second here. But they are just absolutely outstanding. We were hoping to bring them in this year, and we were all set up to do it, and then we found out the funding just wasn't there, so we just had to pull back. But they are the Children of Adams Band, the Children of Adams Band, very Afrocentric, outstanding professional singers and musicians. And they blew the roof off the State Museum the first time we had them here. They just started out, and they've grown since then. They've really picked up steam, and a lot of people are, recognizing them. So they're more expensive. Let's put it that way. But with the proper funding, we can get in the Children of Adams Band and the outstanding poets and storytellers. I mean, they're there for the taking. We just got to, connect with them. So we will. We'll make it happen. So folks out there who are listening in, if you know of funding sources and all that kind of good stuff, we have a really good grants writer in Dan Zawelski, and he represented us. I went down to it myself at the county commissioners meeting on Thursday, and I had no idea it was gonna be packed like that. I thought, okay, we'll go down and make this presentation. Nothing further from the truth. There were so many people there, and Jalen Dorch. Hello, Nate and Ro. Oh, wonderful. Okay. Hey, Jalen. Hope you can come on, Jalen, and join us. But anyhow, it was an eye opener to see that many people were out, searching for the funding and everything. And these are people who are doing great things in our region. And so I was like, okay, this is good stuff. I was honored to be there, and hopefully, we'll be fortunate enough to be awarded some funds that we can do some things throughout the year. But again, I just wanted to say that. So anyhow, Ro, instead of me going on and on and on, I do want to mention this, and then I will turn it over to Ro here to talk about some things she's doing. This is a book. It came out. You can see this was 2018 edition, Black Authors and Published Writers Directory. And I have these every year for I don't know how many years, but anyhow, really, really chock full of a lot of great stuff. Everything from, and let me pull up in the book here. So, for example, you have radio and talk shows. I mean, all of the radio and talk shows throughout the country, not all, but a whole bunch of them. And then publishing services. We got to get, Terry Martinez in there, since she's publishing these days. Publishers, public relations people, producers. And these are African-American artists and African-American podcasts, playwrights, organizations, newspapers, newsletters, museums, management companies, magazines, and so librarians. It goes on and on and on. And we have a mention in here as well, as far as the Writers Wordshop is concerned. And so it's out there. And this sister Grace, it's through Grace Publishing Company, and I've gotten a chance to talk to her and everything. And she's been out there laboring for years trying to pull this off. It used to be a much bigger edition, and that just became really prohibitive, cost prohibitive. But it's still a nice size. It's still a very nice size. And like I said, this is an older edition, so I haven't gotten the one since. I hope she didn't stop and once the pandemic hit. But pictures are in here, and they feature people and all kinds of stuff. So it's a great resource to have, and that's why I want to draw from this and bring in some of these people as well, because we don't know everybody that's out there. But one thing we do know is that people are out there. Okay, so let's make it happen. We want Harrisburg to become a mecca for what we're trying to do. Why not think of Harrisburg as a place where artists thrive? It can, and they do. All right, Ro. So tell us, for those persons who don't know anything about your business, tell us about your business and what do you do?
Well, since we've last talked, it has expanded.
Talk about it.
Just continues to bless me. And speaking of directories, I had a gentleman call me, I guess about 2 weeks ago, and he was looking for, I don't even really want to call it ghostwriting, because he has a series of family narratives that he's written. And they're very factual, and he was looking for somebody to sort of put a story to them.
Yeah.
And he called me out of the blue, and it was somebody that I didn't recognize. So I asked him, I said, well, how'd you get my number? He said he found me in the Poets Writers Directory that's online. I was taken back. I was like, really?
Nice.
So apparently, and then I looked it up. Apparently, you should be on there too.
Okay.
Because this is how it works. If you have more than one published work, it all goes by points.
Okay.
you have to have 12 points to be listed in there.
Mm-hmm.
Like a certain amount of published work will get you in there.
Okay.
Like if you have a video that's spoken word poetry, or you've done a play, any of those types of activities will get you in this directory. I guess if they've had some type of media coverage to them. So I
Nice.
put
Okay.
myself up. I was rather surprised. I was like, wow,
That's fantastic.
good directory.
It's amazing what's out there, isn't it?
Yeah, so when you said that, there is an online one. So if you just plug in Google directory for poets and writers, it will
Okay.
come up and it'll tell you how you score to get in there. But I'm
Excellent.
like,
Okay.
I didn't nominate myself. I didn't do anything, and I'm just in there. So I'm sure you're probably in there too, as well as this one.
Well, hey, I'm just glad to know it's out there, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's surprising of where you find yourself at. You think you're an indie author or indie publisher, and you don't
Mm-hmm.
really realize how widespread that can be, even if your books are not wide. My books are in Barnes and Noble, Kobold, Apple, Amazon, of course, all those places where you can find bookstores, but I
Mm-hmm.
never knew about this registry because I had nothing to do with that. So I was like, wow, um,
Yeah,
another way of getting, yourself out there. So
absolutely,
that
absolutely.
sort of surprised me. But yeah, I count all blessings of expansion to the Lord Jesus.
There you
So
go.
got a couple
Amen,
of
amen. Yeah.
projects I'm working on. So that's exciting. And then I'm doing well, I haven't done in a while because I look at it as, my projects are coming first, but I've been writing a Kindle Vella story. I've got this is my third one, but the new one I have about 12 episodes.
Nice.
One of my readers said to me, "Are we going to get the episode 13?" I'm like, "Well, kind of got my hands in the fire pretty deep right here. So I
Yeah,
don't know when I'm going to finish that, but I just say all those aspiring authors out there, just keep writing, just keep going. Yeah.
absolutely. Keep going. You know, I always go back and I can't think of the gentleman's name now. He used to follow him for a while. And he would always start off by saying, writer's right. He said, so the first thing I got to tell you is just write. And he would always emphasize that, right. Because you never know what's going to come out of that, some inspiration that, something might start flowing through you. So just write. I looked at, what's his name? Bernard Ballard. I call him Bernard all the time. And he's a fashion designer. He was at the Quantum with the fur hats and the fur coats and
Mhm.
everything. But he also had all these books. I mean, he had all these books laid out. And I said, Bernard, are all these yours? He said, yeah. I said, go ahead, man. He is what you call a consciousness writer. And so he, for years, has perfected just whatever comes to his mind, he just writes down. He's gone to workshops with that and everything else. So he's produced a number of books, which I did not know, and everything.
Talking
But
to him.
yeah, but it's like
Mhm.
he just writes, and that's his style. That's what he likes to do. And so he said, I just let it flow, man. And it's doing quite well for him. So I agree with Ro, for example. Anybody out there? I mean, writers, write. That's what we have to do. And it doesn't always have to be a poem. It doesn't have to be this and that. I mean, I write, short stories. I write, articles for newspapers, whatever. And just write. And I write when I want to write. I don't make myself a slave to it. I wish I had a little bit more get up and go to it kind of thing. But, I have projects out there. And one in particular I'm working on now that I feel pretty good about. That actually I'm not sure where the inspiration came from, but it's like there it is. And actually I do know where it came from. But yeah, you just got to have something on the burner. And you may not get to it every day, but make sure you get to it, okay? And
Mhm.
just right. So, Rose is a perfect example of that. You and I think Lazille and a few others I can think of. You write. I mean, boy, do you write. And that's great. Don't ever give that gift up. It's a gift. I like doing them other things too. I like organizing events and all that good stuff. And that's why this coming Sunday, we'll be honoring Ro Brady and so many others, at least 7 other women, along with that outstanding keynote speaker of ours, Dr. Yamoja Smalls. Again, folks, I mean, you can say there's nothing happening in Harrisburg, or you can get out here and get involved with what's happening in Harrisburg. And this is happening in Harrisburg on Sunday, December the 17th, from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. at the State Museum, absolutely free. And you will not be disappointed. We have a wonderful program lined up for you. Our MC that day will be Nicole Wilkerson. And Nicole was honored also along with Ro Brady just this past, well, no, she was honored just this past Saturday for the Kwanzaa event. And she was also, one of the principal event coordinators for us. She was the principal event coordinator for us. But yeah, she was honored this past Saturday. Ro will be honored this coming Sunday. So let me make sure I have that straight. Okay, so good stuff. By the way, the movie, the musical Color Purple, and that's the other thing people have to understand. I understand that this is more of a musical like it was on Broadway, and that they really have developed the whole script and I heard one woman, a couple people were saying that they laughed, they cried, all kinds of things. So they said it's pretty emotional, it's pretty good. I can't wait to see it. Hats off to the various, well, they call it the Divine Nine, the sororities and fraternities around the country that was made possible by Oprah Winfrey to give a pre-showing of the movie. And I understand that every movie theater here in the Harrisburg area was packed out. They had it at the Midtown Cinema. They had it at the Regal, at least those two. There may have been another one, but yeah, at the Midtown Cinema, they said that was totally packed out in the Regal. And, tickets were like maybe $25 or $30, but people went. And I've heard nothing but good things about, the production. So I can't wait to see it. We already have our tickets, by the way. Come Christmas morning, God willing, we'll be sitting there supporting. I also like the fact that on The View, they interviewed the cast, and it didn't even dawn on me until this one guy said, well, we want to thank you, Whoopi Goldberg, because you were the torchbearer for this. Whoopi Goldberg was a star of The Color Purple. I forgot about that. She sure was. I was like, wait a minute, she was silly. Unbelievable. Yeah, a young Whoopi Goldberg. Yeah, so looking forward to it. How about you, bro?
I know. I was talking to a friend of mine, and she was saying, no, they live in Virginia, Norfolk, Virginia,
Mhm.
and she was saying that they had gotten their tickets, oh, I guess like 3 weeks ago. I was
Ah,
like, oh, wow, yeah. So all over the country, people are. I
mhm,
haven't even really focused on getting tickets, but I definitely want to go see it because I saw it, oh gosh, on Broadway, and that's like a
mhm.
different production.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well,
And
no, it
so,
wasn't Broadway. It was in Chicago, rather.
okay, nice.
But I
Okay.
always say Chicago and Broadway, their theater is very similar. You
They
get,
really are. Yeah,
yeah, they
yeah.
are.
I have
Yeah.
to tell you, my son Nate, my oldest son, he actually was in a play with Ann Nesby, the great gospel singer and the lead singer for Sounds of Blackness for years. And the guy that played with the Five Heartbeats, I forget which one he was, but anyhow, the whole cast of people like that. And he did a run out there for like I think six weeks or something like that. Anyhow, but he was had one of the starring roles. Nate was kind of into it at one time and taking a lot of acting lessons and stuff. And he has a great program booklet that we've kept as a souvenir when he played in that. And they every show they said was sold out. And they wanted to take it on the road and all that kind of stuff. So I always think about Chicago whenever you mention Chicago, I always think about that. And also, who was the lady out there in Chicago? She had a black female that was like legendary out there. She had her own black theater company. And I went to the theater along with some friends. We were out there for a religious conference, and they had never heard of a lot of stuff. And I said, well, wait a minute, now you live in Chicago? Yeah. They never heard of the Third World Press. I said, what? I
Oh,
mean, Third World Press is Haki Mahabuti,
yeah.
Donnelly. And then this black theater company, I can't call the name right now, but
I
in
can't.
there,
I know what you're talking about, and I can't think of
yeah.
it either.
Mm.
I know
But
Third World Press though.
yeah, but they knew Ebony Magazine, they knew, the Johnson Publishing Company, something like that, but they didn't know Third World, they didn't know the sister who, like I
I
said, I was
can't think
saying,
of it either. I still
yeah.
have my playbill from that color purple when I went. I had my
Uh,
Aunt Lucille, who was the one who really gave me my love of theater. It was what,
mm,
she was a
mm.
theater goer and took me as a young girl, and
Okay.
she could get tickets in Chicago. We were going.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Mhm.
Well, we love Broadway, Pat and I, and we've always loved Broadway even before we knew each other. I saw Stephanie Mills. Man, I could just go on and on and on. Almost every black play that ever came out, we made our way to Broadway to see it. But I will
Mhm.
tell everybody, don't sleep on in Baltimore. Um, I'm gonna call the name of the theater because we've been there 1,000 times, but they have a lot of the black plays that are on their way to Baltimore, Broadway stop in Baltimore. And it's this wonderful, fabulous theater there that if you, once you know it and stay up with them, you'll find that most of those plays, we saw the Temptations there before we saw them on Broadway. We saw, all of them, I just can go on and on. But one of the plays we saw there was Donny Hathaway's play that I don't think made it to Broadway. But I will tell you, that was outstanding. The guy that played the role, and it was only like a few people in the whole play. And at the end, Donny Hathaway committed suicide by jumping out of a building. And he had, mental issues that happened later on in life and brought him by a lot of stress. And so the way they did that, I mean, they had the stage really turned upside down, and it just took you like you were actually falling, out of the window with him. Unbelievable.
Mm.
That was actually breathtaking. It was like, wow. And then the song and the music playing at the same time. Like you talking about one of the in tears. I mean, because it was so powerful. You got to know him and then he was gone. It's like, oh. But bro, wow, theater is something else, isn't it? Well, you're a theater person. You're a writer in theater, and being able to get people in those stands and have them do that thing that they do, unbelievable.
Mhm.
Mm,
Mhm.
mm, mm. Did you happen to see Black Nativity?
Yes, I did. I went with Maria and Janet to go see it, and we sort of had a bit of a hair story little reunion there. One
Oh,
of the
mm,
cast members who played the harp,
mm-hmm.
such an amazing musician, and she gave us I don't know how many free tickets. So we were all together in a little booth. We had such a good time. Yeah,
We
it was
had one of the booths also. I like that little theater with the little booth thing. I like that a lot.
yeah.
Yeah, we took 6 of us that went, and I just bought the tickets and just said, let's just go check it out. And I was thinking it's gonna be something totally different what it looked like, but once we got in there and just settled in, it was magic. And the cast was just dynamic. Now, did you know that Jaber, the poet Jaber,
Uh-huh.
his daughter was one of the main people, the little girl that she had a big heavy voice like a little
Yeah.
man, and that's his daughter. Yeah, and we
Well,
saw
we
him that night.
recognized the one actress from Crowns. We and Maria and I kept sitting there going like, we've seen her before. Where? We just couldn't place
Mm.
her. And then all of a sudden we all three of us, me, her, and Janet looked at each other and said, Crowns. Like, yeah.
Oh, wow.
But I
Okay.
think that's the
Well,
neat.
the lead singer, the guy that played the preacher, the pastor, whatever, I understand he's actually a minister and he's out of Lancaster, from what I understand. That
Oh,
guy could be on Broadway anywhere. I mean, he was really good.
because we were over there in the corner standing up, praising God in the
All
corner.
right.
It was funny. And then Maria, we're like, oh, that's right. We ain't at church. We at the play. We just kind of sat down.
Yeah. So for anybody who has not seen a production by the Sankofa African American Theater Company, it's founded by Sharia Ben with a lot of support from Ann and what's it? Is it Mike Alsadek? I forget. I'm sorry, but the
I think
Alsadek
it is
family.
Elsa
The
Deck.
Alsadeks were the ones who created and founded the Open Stage Theater, which is absolutely excellent. And so then when Sharia, and she was one of the principal actors at Open Stage, when she decided to open up the African American experience here in Harrisburg, they went along with her. They kind of retired from Open Stage, and when we were there, Mr. Alsadek, was outside in the lobby actually selling T-shirts, and everything. So that was wonderful. Yeah, yeah. So anyhow, good stuff, really good stuff. Um, Great theater. And I understand that something else is getting ready to come this way as well. Um, there's another theater company. I don't know if you've been downtown, and I'm going to make my business to
Yeah.
go.
Uh,
Hinton or Henley?
yeah, Frank Henley.
Frank Henley. Mhm.
He recently had, I don't know if it's a relaunch because he's had this theater for a while, but I think
Yeah.
he's moved into a bigger building. I can't remember what building it used to be, but it's Narcissus.
Narcissist. Have you
Yeah.
seen any of their productions?
I've seen when he was doing it at La Culture.
Okay.
I've seen a couple of his productions, but actually we did, and it was um oh, I guess it was June that they did a bits and clips from Hair Story.
Okay. Okay.
Unfortunately, I wasn't able because Maria had asked me to direct it there too, and I wasn't able to do it because my son was in the hospital at the time.
Oh, okay.
And they were doing
Yeah.
an improv show that same night. It ended up
Mm-hmm.
going. I just couldn't direct it, but I did end up
Yeah.
going. He had several different, actors and actresses who did improv.
Ah,
And he
okay.
has
Good stuff.
had, because I did an article for him for the Black Wall Street, oh, I guess maybe about 2 months ago. And there was
Okay.
another production. And I know this is his second productions that he's had in the last couple of months. I can't
Yeah,
remember the
I know he's
title
right
of
there.
it. Yeah.
Is that
Mhm.
Chestnut Street or what street is that he's on? He's
I
on,
think it is Chestnut Street.
yeah, Fourth, Third and Chestnut or something like that. Yeah. But anyhow, yeah, I gotta check it out. It looks like it might be something down in DC. I know they have those kind of little theaters that pop up. And Pat and I went down, took a weekend once, and we just went to different theaters and we had a ball. And it was just incredible some of the stuff that they were able to, factor in. Small theater, but very powerful performances and wonderful audiences. It's almost like you're right there, almost could just touch the. But they
Yeah.
had with this one building, I think they had 4 theater companies going at the same time. So you had to go downstairs here, upstairs here, upstairs there. It's just incredible. And we decided to go to the one on South Africa. It was about a young black South African boy who was going to school with this white South African girl. She couldn't understand what the issue was, and he was trying to tell her the effects of apartheid, and they were going back and forth about the best way to handle it. He was thinking about becoming a revolutionary and picking up the gun, and she was like, you can't destroy, this you got to build and da da da. It was pretty powerful stuff. And then there was maybe 2 adults in the movie in the play as well, and they came in and there's a lot of dialogue and tension and for 4 people on the stage, and that's all it was for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. That was powerful. It was really well done. Telling the story of the South African Revolution and with apartheid men and all that. So anyhow, small theater, but
I love
powerful.
Black Box Theater and
Yeah, jackpot. There you go. Yeah, that's
minimalistic
that's the
theater.
term.
Yeah,
Mhm.
minimalistic theater where like example of Fences. Did you see
Yeah,
Fences on Broadway?
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah, all they had was a semblance of a back porch. It
yeah.
was
Mhm.
amazing. Yeah.
I saw it in Broadway with James Earl Jones,
Uh-huh.
and the only thing I got turned off on was I was reading the playbill, and he was saying some things about Amiri Baraka and why he didn't. And then he comes out, and one of the first words in the play Fences is he comes out and says "nigga," and he's
Yeah.
out at this guy. And I'm like, no, wait a minute, James Earl Jones, you getting on my man,. But anyhow, I love James Earl Jones, love the acting and all that good stuff. But I just remember that whole dynamic, and I thought, wait a minute. But powerful
Mhm.
play. Fences was really well done. I liked also the movie version with Denzel and Viola. I thought they did an excellent
Yeah, that
job.
was good too.
Yeah, excellent job.
Yeah.
And you can't compare the two. I mean, there's 2 different actors, 2 different styles, and all that.
True.
So,
True.
hey, let's do this. This is the Writers Workshop, folks. For anyone who has never tuned in, we do a lot of different programs. Again, we have one coming up this coming Sunday. We're sponsoring a program at the State Museum of Pennsylvania. It is called oh my goodness, hold on. The title. Um, I'll think of the title in a minute here, but Brother Chris, if you can pull up the flyer for us real quick. I'm just drawing a blank. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank. But we're honoring 8 outstanding women. Ro Brady is one of them. And these are all women who have added to the artistic landscape. There you go. We find a way or make one. I don't know why. I'm not the one who came up with that, by the way. And I cannot even imagine that you're not going to come out to this wonderful, free program that's going to honor 8 outstanding women in our community, but also feature one of the most outstanding artists in all of the country. Her name is Dr. Umoja Smalls, and you have to see her artwork to understand what I'm talking about. I've seen a lot of it, and I'm going to tell you, boy, she is outstanding. She created that flyer, by the way, that you see, and she just She sounds like that. She's actually from Harrisburg here. Her family is the Smalls family. Reverend Irving Smalls is her father, and her mother, who just recently passed within the last a couple of years, was outstanding, noted in her church, and for all the work she's done. She has a twin brother, and they are celebrating their birthday this coming Sunday, and we will be celebrating with them at the State Museum. So come out, it's a free program. Please come out and support and just, show your love. And you won't be disappointed. Her presentation is really good. By the way, she was just featured at the National Convention of the Delta Sigma Theta sorority, which she is a Delta, and she was the keynote speaker there. So she ain't no slouch now. She knows what she's doing, and she has national prominence. Her paintings, go for a lot of money, and some of them are she has some things that are small, and, she's already told me, things that anybody can afford, but her major paintings are thousands of dollars, yeah, thousands. Anyhow, having said that, Brother Chris, the tradition for a Friday night is that we always show some videos that, kind of lift up, it is the writer's Wordshop. Brother Chris created that for us. And we love to have folks. Okay, here we go. It's called Wake Up.
Wake up! Motherland is sinking in a quicksand of division. Motherland is running high on crime and running low on options. Motherland could use an extra hand, but brother man, you can't give an extra hand offhand. The stress now a toxic fume of darkness. It a choke, so tell we know to the city way forward again. And for some of us with goals, still have places we wanna be. I was told by my quack anxieties that cracks or cannabis can take you places that you cannot be. That the cloud of Igbo or loud in my mouth can be loud enough to devour even the woeful whales in Owo. That Shayo can be another way forward, but as you step forward, watch your back. Cause this Mr. Dillaman won't tell you that crack is no life hack. That tramadol is not the Panadol of Ninja headache. That no matter how high you get, brother man, you can never beat the sky. And even if the high takes you as far as the sky, reality is gravity. One that will smack you down back to the hurricane of pain, back to the horrors of terror. For this Mr. Dillaman won't tell you that this country can kill you. But if you must die here, the worst place to die is in your head. So brother man, get out of your head. Let's join head and battle the storms ahead. Wake up!
Yeah, that's a good piece. Yeah, wake up. There's so many people destroying their lives on crack and other drugs. And this fentanyl thing is out of control. Wow. Folks, whatever you do, stop picking up somebody's stuff. So many people are smoking stuff, taking stuff. They have no idea what it's been laced with, and they're dying. We had a young man who's actually a real fine poet, who did last year this time, fell dead in the streets because he took a puff of something that was laced with fentanyl, and he was a long-term addict in many different ways, and he got out there needing that fix, I guess. And he was a real fine poet too, by the way, and he just fell dead, and so many people are doing that. So listen, it's whack. That stuff called crack is whack. Wake up is what the poet said, and that's what we all have to do when it comes down to this drug thing. Yeah, thank Chris. That was a good piece, man. And obviously the sisters from the continent are, some variation thereof, the diaspora, because she was rolling with that accent. Have you ever tried rap yourself? I know you're a poet, very fine poet. I know you're a spoken word artist, Ro, but have you ever tried the art form of rap? Excuse me.
No, I don't think I speak fast enough. I don't think I have that cadence that you have to have for rap.
You say that, and I feel the same way in a sense, but I haven't really tried it. I know that you could because I've heard you read, but you're a deliberate reader, you're a deliberate speaker kind of thing, so I got that. But think of Common. Common is a great rapper, but he's real slow. He's very deliberate in his style. He does not go like some of these other guys go, and I thought, wow, I like Common, but he puts it together in a whole different way than a lot of others. And I've heard some others, do the same thing. Snoop Dogg is not a fast rapper. He has, hooks, and he does his thing, but he's not one of those. Now, of course, Busta Rhymes is off the chart. I can't even mention Busta. When I think of guys like him and so many others, Mooney in the middle. I bring that up because they just celebrated 50. They're celebrating 50 years of rap this year, and they had a wonderful presentation on CBS. Was that Sunday night, Saturday night, one or two of those nights? And I taped it. My wife was like, I know you're not watching that. Oh, so when she went to bed, I watched the whole thing. But unfortunately, because of the football game, I missed the last part. It didn't tape with Will Smith. And that's the part I really wanted to see. Will Smith came out. That was his first public appearance since the smack. And they said the crowd went crazy. And also he did very well, doing his rap. So anyhow, but 50 years of rap. And I remember when they first said the rap would never take off. It wasn't going to last. People didn't understand what the heck it was, all that kind of stuff. And here it is 50 years later. Wow. Unbelievable. Anyhow, I thought I'd just bring that up because rap really is just another form of poetic expression, and they talk about that. So yeah, good stuff. What do you have for us tonight? You have anything you'd like to read, Ro?
Sure, I have a new one.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay.
I really didn't need to clean off this tiny little desk I have over here. I hope I can read that. I wrote it in travel, so it's in my little notebook.
Okay.
She's dark, that pretty distinguished dark. The light shines through her soul and vibrates off the shadows that she casts when she walks by and others speak of her boldness. She's aware that the world will shun her because of her dark glow that the ancestors blessed her with. Their gifts were unprecedented and priceless. She is the Nubian queen that the world is waiting for. Unfortunately, the world sometimes overlooks greatness when it comes in packages that are too dark, too fat, too this or that. We're all too busy trying to stay on top of the most popular fashion trend or our ability to win the golden ticket as America's #1 top social media blogger. Have we forgotten the human factor? We are all only one drop, one heartbeat, one tragic step away from falling deeply into the abyss of ordinary. Keep what lies within your breast beating with a steady beat. Don't forget to embrace your humanistic manner. After all, isn't it what brought us all together? This red blood that runs in my veins, surely some of it is in your inheritance. Go ahead. Find your place in the sun. It's never too late to watch the shadows that you'll cast as you walk on by. Please the ancestors. You know you can.
I like it. I like it. Please the ancestors. I know you can. That's a good ending to that. Yeah. And I'm glad you brought up the whole notion of the dark skin, and how it is still shunned. People still look at, and it's amazing how when we were in Senegal, one of the things I said to Pat was, boy, you can see the rich darkness of the skin and just how beautiful it is and how much we stood out in Senegal. Pat and I looked at, like we stood out like a sore thumb because so many of the people on the continent in that particular region of the world, they're very, very dark skinned. And there are many other parts of the continent in which, people are like that. And we stand out. They're looking at us like, what's wrong with y'all? Who you been mixed up with or whatever. But it is beautiful skin. And yeah, we I remember Oprah Winfrey had a program on once where they talked about what was the most acceptable, shades all the way from, dark, deep dark black, it's called a blue black to white. And, they said basically it was the more brown skinned person that, most people sort of lifted up. And I'm not talking about, of course, with the whole notion of racism and all that, where we have supremacy, white supremacy, but just in terms of the skin tone and skin color, there was, a whole conversation around that. I thought to myself, isn't that something that really is a construct or a thought that happens to people, even though they don't realize that that's what they're doing. We're judging people off of a lot of different things just based on the skin color alone. Isn't that something? Well, just human nature is what we do. Not we do, but what they do,
Mhm.
but people do. Absolutely. Yeah. And I remember thinking we had a lot of people come. Remember the Lost Boys of the Sudan?
Mhm.
Yeah, the number of them still I see, you know, here in Harrisburg. When they first came aboard back in the 90s, we were deeply involved, Pat and I both, because I was working for Trustful Lutheran Services, and they literally were one of the primary entry points here in this area for people who were coming from the continent, you know, and especially from the Sudan. And then the United Way, who I worked for, actually took that whole piece up and helped them find housing and all that. And I used to run with them a lot because that was part of my job. And yeah, they were learning. I mean, things we took for granted, a lot of them had never seen before. The one lady that we worked with, she was a student who participated in our AXO competition, and she won first place in traditional song. And she was from, I think, the Congo. But anyhow, she had literally fled her village and had to run to basically turned out to be a camp where some 88,000 people lived on top of each other daily. And they had it pretty well organized based on what pictures and stuff that she showed us and her explanation. But can you imagine living in Harrisburg has about 49,000 inner city, about 49,000 they say, 88,000 in a much smaller area and on top of each other, you know, and all that kind of stuff. And the question was, all of them were trying to get out of, you know, the predicament that they were in and come to the United States or go to England somewhere. And they thought that was like the panacea. That was going to be the oasis for them. But it didn't turn out always to be like that. And a number of them ended up here in Harrisburg. And one of the things I really enjoyed was listening to them tell their story, you know, in their own raw, individual kind of way. They just talked about all that they went through. And then the last point I'll make is that we had a number of scholars, young graduate students who came to Harrisburg by way of California. And they had this organization that they were supposed to be working with. And they paid big money to come to the United States and then to do some work and all that. And they found themselves in Stilton, Pennsylvania, in this rundown house that had no running water, no lights and all that kind of stuff. They were trying to make do. And somehow Paul Carey got a hold of someone who, you know, told him what they were going through and told him what they were going through. And then Paul contacted myself and some others, and we got together and went down to Messiah College, down right outside of below the Department of Education. I forget the name of the alley, but downtown off of Chestnut Street. And here they said, you know, you came to us at the most opportune time because it's summertime and these rooms down are available for the next, you know, say 3 weeks. And so we can actually put them up in these rooms. But then after that, you'd have to leave out. Then our son-in-law at the time, Jeff Washington, who I don't mind mentioning, had a house uptown Harrisburg. And after they had to move out of the Messiah building, we were able to get them up into Jeff's house. And Jeff said the crazy thing was they loved to cook. He said, and they used to make this heavy, whatever it was, had a heavy smell to it, like a, you know, a dish. What do they call it? Like Indians had that smell, that
Curry.
really thick. Said
Curry.
like a curry. Okay, there you go. And I think that's what they had also, like a curry. And the neighbors were like, "What in the world are they cooking? All this kind of stuff, you know?" And he said, even the walls, even after they left out, it just had that heavy smell in the walls and everything, you know, for the longest time. But we were so glad that we were able to accommodate them. It turns out, and I mentioned this before years ago, probably, but it turns out that the one young lady that was there was the daughter of Malife, not Malife Asante. Wait a minute. It could, oh, no. I got it wrong. So she was the daughter of one of the chiefs in Nigeria. And Malife Asante had written this big volume of, the brother has about 130 books out, but this one is the latest book at that time. He had written this big volume about Africa, and one of the chapters was dedicated to this prominent chief in Nigeria. And it showed the chief and his family, because he had a huge family, and it showed her sitting right there under her father's feet when she was a little girl. And here she was now, the graduate student here. And so she was like royalty to Medife Asante. And one of the things that happened was Medife Asante was contacted by Paul Carey and told of the situation. He and his wife personally came up, and that Sunday they spoke at our church, but they also met with all the African brothers and sisters and made sure that they got a proper place. And so that's when we end up going down to Messiah College and getting, the accommodations. But a lot of it had to do with Medife Asante stepping in and really putting his weight to it. He's academician himself and all that. It was great. Another thing that happened with them, it was in the paper. A lot of people don't remember this, but they were discriminated against down at the Hershey. They felt like they were discriminated against down at the Hershey plant, Hershey Foods. And I took them to work that day. It was like 6 of them in my car. And they said, would you mind waiting? And I said, oh, well, what's going on? And they said, well, we're not happy. We're going to go on and express our dissatisfaction to the boss. And that we don't know if we're going to be working here because, we're really angry. And so they went in and they talked about all the things that had been done to them and how they were treated. And they quit. And they came back out and said, yeah, we're no longer there. We refuse to be degraded. And then they took it to the press. And it was quite a story, A lot of these kids, they felt like they were being used, being, looked down upon. And they said, we're not, just, and, we're graduate students who, some of them are in doctoral programs and some are in master's programs. And they're like, you're treating us like we're nothing, And so pretty good stuff. Anyhow, stuff that we can write about, huh? Stuff that we can write about. So, you never did talk about your business, Ro. You mentioned that you're expanding, but you didn't really tell people what you do and how they can become a client of yours.
Yeah, it was funny because I was talking to Queenie, and she had a client she was working with who, I don't know, I just asked for some opinions on her writing, and she said, would you mind talking to her? And I was like, yeah, sure. I always look at it as if something that I have learned will help someone else, why not pass it on? And I always think that's a big struggle because a lot of people will learn new things and then they want to hold on to it and think, well, I'm not going to share it with you because you may take something I have. So that's kind of how it all started. So I ended up talking to Queenie's client, and she said, you've been a tremendous, help. So I said to Queenie at the time, I said, you know what? I really, really enjoy developmental editing most of all, helping somebody refine their story. And I said, maybe, using my English certification might not be a bad idea.
That's
So
right.
I decided to start Clean Page Editing. And basically, I mean, I'm a one-woman show. I do proofing, line editing, but basically I really do enjoying, now the aspect of ghostwriting, being able to take someone's idea and basically write the story for them. And that's where I'm finding my most enjoyable moments of doing this. And I am also part of an anthology. So the organizer of the anthology had asked me to edit some of the story. So I'm also doing that. But yeah, basically, I'm really enjoying it. And I said, anytime something prospers and you ask God for it, then you know that you're headed in the right direction. So
Amen. Good stuff.
I'm Ro Brady at Clean Page Editing. So if anybody out there is a writer and you need help with developing your story, you need help with proofreading your story, you need help with finding someone who will beta read your story, reach out to me at rbcleanpageediting@gmail.com, or you can grab a hold of me on Facebook at Ro Brady Productions or IG at Ro the Literary.
Okay. I think you also had one at one point you still use it, road rights for you.
Yes, Row Rights for You is another Gmail, but I've kind of needed to separate my Gmail. So basically I'm using RB Clean Page Editing at gmail.com for any editing. And that
Now,
way,
you said RB, like
yeah,
in Brandon, right?
capital RB
Mhm.
Clean Page Editing at gmail.com. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Okay. Excellent. Excellent. Good stuff. Yeah. Keep that word out there because most of us know that we all need help in some way, shape, or form. Writers who sometimes get stuck or you have an idea, you're not really sure how to express it. You don't know if that vocabulary is what you want it to be, whatever it might be. So when people like Ro come along and who offer these kinds of services, don't be ashamed. No shame in your game. Take advantage of the service and, let that magic begin. It's always your project, but you just need some assistance. That's all. And I know that so many great writers out there who are producing all the time. A lot of them have gone this way. They needed some assistance, whether it be a stenographer type person that could type real fast and get them going, or just someone in terms of let me do a look-see and make some suggestions to this particular piece you wrote. That can be awfully big help as well. Yeah. I mean, no, like I said, no shame in your game. You do what you got to do, to get to where you want to get, and be what you want to be. That's so important. So just keep it going. What time is it now? Let me see. I didn't bring my little watch in. I look at my clock.
8:02.
That's all. 8:02. Wow. Okay. Good stuff. It seemed like time was moving
I know it
right
did
along.
later.
Yeah, I thought it was actually later too, but this is all good. So, Brother Chris, if you don't mind, because we're going to get ourselves together here and do a little bit more talking, also maybe some readings. But if you don't mind bringing up another video, we'd appreciate that big time.
From the office.
In another world, I want to be a father. Without passing through the eternal insanity of mourning my children. Without experiencing the ritual of watching my children return home as bodies folded like a prayer mat. Without spending my nights telling them the stories of a hometown where natives become aliens, searching for a shelter. I want my children to spread a mat outside my house and play without the walls of houses ripped by rifles. I want to watch my children grow to recite the name of their homeland like the Lord's Prayer, to frolic in the streets without being hunted like animals in the bush, without being mobbed to death. In another world, I want my children to tame grasshoppers in the field, to play with their dolls in the living room, to inhale the fragrance of flowers waving as wind blows, to see the birds measure the sky with their wings.
That's powerful. I like that. And the voice also. I thought about what we just talked about, how you have to have. It seems like you have to have that fast cadence for rap, but he just rapped to us in a very poetic way, and he didn't hurry, didn't push. It just a nice even flow, and it didn't make me tired of hearing it. You know what I mean? Sometimes this is something that's after a while sounds like blah 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 blah. And you kind of tuned out mentally and all that stuff. But not with that. That was really well said. I like the way he did it.
I
And it's
was
a
waiting
nice
for another stanza.
It's yeah.
Yeah, I was like, it ended.
I'm with you on that. I thought the same thing. I thought, boy, that ended kind of strange, or it didn't have the same. You thought there's gonna be more of an explosion to it. Something that's gonna take off, but it didn't. Just ended. Yeah. Yeah. So endings. I know that one of the things we talked about, Ro, is and we talked about this before. How do you end the project? How do you know that story is done?
I think sometimes, I always like repetitive poems, like the
Okay.
thing at the end. But then sometimes there's just not that, like the one I just read, there were no more words for me after I said what I said. It was like, but what's the purpose of it? And I thought, very similar to what you had said, the gist of that poem was, our culture, our color, our ethnicity is all from our ancestors. Taking pride in the color that you are, taking pride in the hair texture that you have. We're giving pride back to our ancestors. And then after I thought of the ending, was like, that's all it needs. I'm done.
There you go. It's done. That's why I think you're gonna love the emojis. I noticed she has her own style, the way she wears her hair in different ways, different photos. Very, very artistic. Very brown skinned, dark skinned sister who has this beautiful glow about her. And at the same time, she's creating incredible art, visual art, as well as written art,
I love that poster.
Yeah, isn't that something?
Frame that and hang it on the wall. Yeah, it's gorgeous.
I agree with you on that one. Yep. But yeah, so anyhow, there's a lot to be said. I appreciate it. You were the first poet up at Kwanzaa, by the way. And I appreciate that. I put the call out there and boom, you came right on up. I was like, all right, bro. I appreciate that.
I have to give Semet an amazing, what a testimony. Her book, Few Are Chosen. I don't know.
Oh yes, Samet George. Yes.
Well, I've read it. I tore through it. What an amazing testimony. But I had shared with her, I said, she said, I was just so taken back that you would give me a review on my book. And I was like, I loved it because it was so refreshing the way she wrote it. It's very conversational. And I felt like, because on Saturday, how I got up there so quickly was I saw her because she was up near the stage.
Yeah.
I was like, I've got to go talk to her because I was at that time, I was like in the middle of the book. So the other day, I finished it and I called her and I said, I was in tears of your perseverance. I was in tears with your faith. I was in tears in your journey. So my pastor's wife had asked me if I would facilitate a women's discipleship class. And she said, you can pick the book. And I immediately said, I've got just the book for you. And I told her about Few Are Chosen. And I think it's so inspirational. Semet has gone through so much and overcame and still overcome. So, shout out if anybody out there really is feeling they don't know if they can press on just a little bit longer, read this book, Few Are Chosen by Semet George. It's very, very motivational. So that's how I got up there so quick, because I was up there talking to Semet. And then when you made that call, I was like, oh, I'll go.
And by the way, if you go on our Facebook page, Nathaniel Gadsden, you'll see that we interviewed Semet George for Life Esteem. And her and her husband both, and they did an excellent job. And the more you hear her backstory, her story of why she's still alive, the more you realize, oh, there is a God, there is a God, man, I'm telling you. And then UPMC recognizing the magnitude of her recovery and then embracing her the way that they have. This is, wow, it's mind blowing. It really is. It is absolutely mind blowing. Lizelle, how you doing?
I'm good. Good night, everyone.
All
I
right.
was so
I see
happy
when you
to
were
see
presenting,
that
you had a
person.
picture on Facebook.
Hi, Ro.
And where was that being held?
Um,
You said school?
yeah, that's the where I work. School. They had
okay.
a Kwanzaa festival, so they asked me to recite a poem on it.
Yes. I saw you did a piece on Kwanzaa. That's great. Absolutely. Real good. Real good. Yeah, so anyhow, so glad you came down. I don't know if you got any sales or anything like that, but people sure love it, especially when you sang that song. You really touched some nerves there. That was really good. You touched hearts, not nerves, you touched hearts. That was a good song.
Well,
Nice.
I'm so excited to see her in person.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's the first time you've met. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I was like, I got a hug. I was like, you're not in a box.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then your poetry, you read very powerfully, Lizelle. I appreciate that as always. And I know at least one person came up to you and trying to get you to do their event, which is cool. I hope you do. You know, yeah, it's not that far from
Yeah,
Harrisburg,
that's
so you may jump down.
Macasia Brown.
Mackenzie Brown, yep, yeah,
He called me last night and we were talking. So he said he know you all, he know, everybody and stuff.
he
We
does. Yep, yep. Anytime we put an event, he usually pops up and tries to, hit on the vendors because he's trying to recruit for his programs, and he does have many, and I give him credit for that. He does a pretty good job. He's been at it for a long time trying to, get it right, and I think he's gotten it right. Yeah, so we support Mackenzie Brown, folks. He's a Harrisburg guy, and
yeah.
so yeah. So how'd you make out?
It was good. He wants me to come on the January the 13th, but then I started the podcast thing on Saturdays, so I'll have to talk to Christopher, maybe do a recording or something.
Good stuff. Yeah, yeah. Well, Brother Chris is here and he's listening in, so I'm sure that you and him can get together and make some things
Yeah.
happen.
So
Yeah. Did you have a piece you'd like to read tonight, Lizelle?
yeah, I have. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Rose already shared. If you'll share something, that'd be great.
Okay. This one is, I have it here. It's called The Light Over Darkness. I never knew about the 7 towers of strength. 7 is perfection. That's why it was chosen. It took 7 days for creation. But he didn't need this light. He was the light. God knew we needed guidance. He made man to invent. He studied the civilization of human nature to save us, the people. Man came forth with his plan to read and study, but can keep us together. Man wanted unity and strength, a people to hold their head up high, to unite, a people to step out of their comfort zone, a people to speak up and rise, a people to be free. But then don't forget the struggle, the blood that flowed from crying hearts, crying veins, crying civilization. Their mouths held captive, cannot speak. They died, buried in grave, dirt, trying to be free. But now it's time to rise in triumph as the earth dance and sing. Our names will be heard. It will be in every mouth. The abundance of one's voice, one strength, one determination. The possibilities exist with hands claps as chords that cannot be broken as the future awaits our presence.
Nice, nice, nice. You when you read it at the Kwanzaa, you really read with a lot of power and a lot of passion. And that's something that you developed. And I can tell that moved a lot of people in the audience, and everything. And also sometimes when poets, you read, you're not really sure if they're done. You know what I mean? They just, and I experienced that with the one video, Rose said, well, I wanted another stanza. And I felt exactly the same way. I hadn't even said it yet, but she said it. She mouthed it. I was like, yeah, And so that writer, hopefully, they'll think about that, maybe add to it. But you seem to have a good way of wrapping your poems a lot of times. So tell me about that, your technique when you're trying to make a point at the end, because that's pretty much what we do with the poem, right? How do you do it? What comes to your mind?
What comes to the mind at the end is hope and like for a better tomorrow, for, you know, to get things right,
Yeah.
you know, to move forward and be positive in moving forward.
Okay, cool. So you try to get that positive spin at the end of,
Yeah.
There's always hope. Yeah. Bro,
Yeah.
how do you, I know that a few poets have, over the years, people have come our way, and sometimes they would have this nice poem, but their voice would trail off at the end. And you'd almost miss like, where's the punchline? Where's the, the boom, the thing that ties it all together? But they didn't seem to have that. And I thought, oh, that's good. But bro, you do. So tell us about your technique. How do you tie your poem up after you have finished or whatever?
I guess it's according to the part, all right, certain parts of the poem, when it comes intense, then you raise your voice for that intensity, and certain parts will be mellow. So you know how to kind of keep it. But somehow I feel like I'm kind of I mix it up, yes, but somehow I just feel like if I just be in one tone. But I believe once the intense part starts, you know how to raise your voice. Once it's soft and mellow, you lower it. So in a way, I have an idea of how to raise, how to lower my voice, you know, to keep it balanced, you know.
Good.
But let's sell that piece that you just did. I think what made it was your accent. It just gave it this cadence to it that it was you. Yeah. I just loved listening to that just because of your accent.
Thanks.
Great piece.
Yeah, I wrote The Light Over Darkness is about the candles, the Kwanzaa candles. Yeah.
It's so funny. I was mentioning that there was an article, and I'm pretty sure it was probably Fox News, but I don't know for sure. I'm just saying that. But the question was, is Kwanzaa declining? Are fewer people, practicing Kwanzaa or even thinking about Kwanzaa? And I was making the point that you wouldn't prove that here in Harrisburg, because our Kwanzaa events have been pretty consistently attended, at least for half a day, and embraced. But the article that I was reading suggested that it is on decline, and it's mostly because you don't have a lot of Black nationalist groups anymore, Black separatist groups, kind of thing. So I thought that was interesting. And also I thought it was spin, somebody trying to make a point. You guys aren't valuable anymore. This whole thing's on the decline. And I'm surprised at how many African American people even say, oh, I don't do Kwanzaa, whatever. I had a young man, he's only like, I think he's about 24, 25. And so, we were in this program. And so I said to him, I said, oh, we had this, Kwanzaa program coming up. It's actually a pre-Kwanzaa program and everything. And so he asked children, he said, well, I like you to bring the kids up. He said, well, what if I don't practice Kwanzaa? And he said, well, you can still come, it's not just about whether or not you practice Kwanzaa. I said, you probably do, practice some of the material, the steps and, the Nguzo Saba, but you just don't call it as such and everything. But he was kind of, and, no, he wasn't for it. And that's okay. Everybody's not for everything, but those people who come seem to really, really get into it, seem to enjoy it. And, the rest is history. But anyhow, listen, Brazil and Ro both, we have 20 minutes more. And if you'd like to, no, let's just say 20, we have 40 minutes more. Okay. So if you'd like to, lift up another piece, that'd be great. And I'm going to ask Brother Chris to give us another video. We had a longer piece, then we had a short piece. But let me do the video first, and the two of you pick out something that you want to read. And I'm going to ask Brother Chris if he'll do a video for us right now. Wait.
In this godly relationship, it doesn't test you like a test tube with no juice. He doesn't twist words like a tongue twister, but tutors you without confusing you. So don't just test the techniques of his senses, better yet, tap into the testament of his testimony without ever tapping out.
You turn that up just a little bit, Chris.
He is the Alpha that takes us far, the mighty God in battle who does not wrestle but settles, the Lion of the tribe of Judah. He can never be bribed like Judas, even at the sight of the state of the economy. He can never betray us for pieces of silver like Judas Iscariot. See, he is the King who forgives and told us to forgive 70 times, 7 times, because even when the cock crowed twice and Peter denied Jesus thrice, he didn't revenge despite. See, he is a God of commitment. He won't come to you with signs of retreat or run his way away like Sonic, because he will fit perfectly in your heart without being claustrophobic, and he would fix your brokenness like an orthopedics. Don't just search for him in Lagos when he is wider than the expanse of Etiosa. Stop seeking for a sign of lightning when he is not the God of Shango, neither does he reside in Oyo. See, he is not a surgeon, but touches every part of our sick owns as our savior for his spirit to swim and sink deep for an atmosphere to sit in. Now let's watch as he purposely plucks out pain, piercing our skin to its peak, giving us a place of peace to heal. There is no healing without God's touch. So romantic, it soothes my heart. He is a God of free and fair and doesn't judge you based on what you wear. Tight jeans, ripped jeans, but a trace of his genes when he created us right from Genesis. He is the Prince of Peace who has made us his masterpiece. The eternal rock of ages who does not age nor change. The lily of the valley who gives blessings to the belly. The God who doesn't walk with time, yet he never delays like African time. See, he is the God who exhales so that I can inhale the breath of the Maker. Because he is the way maker, romantic lover, compassionate father, our contender. See, he is a lot of things that my head cannot comprehend. He is not a shooter without aim, but arrests the enemy without bail. See, he is the Trinity, the 3-in-1 unity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, our superhero unit who saves us from seeing our enemies so we could live for eternity without a penalty. You need to embrace his sovereignty. We shouldn't stand still when he hasn't made us a mannequin. Let's boast in his glory because he has given us a perfect story. Our history is a direct opposite of his story. So if you ever feel worried, terrified, horrified, depressed, rejected, and doubt his goodness, he needs you to remember that he is the I am, and I am has sent me to tell you that it is okay because he remains God.
The peace. I like it at the end when she wrapped it once again. The central message is he is okay. We are okay. He is okay because he is God. He said, remind us, remember. I like that. Good stuff. Thank you, Chris. That's a good piece. We may have lost Raw. I'm not sure if she's coming back or not. But Brazil's with us. Brazil Powder, all the way from Trinidad and Tobago, by way of New York City now. And we're just glad to have her. Thank you so much for coming down last week. I wish you could have stayed longer, but you know, you came down and spent just about the entire day with us with the Kwanzaa. And you know, I see that you got involved and got around and met some people, and that's a great thing. So appreciate it. And I'm going to buy some more paintings off you one of these days because we have the 2. But I was thinking, you know what? I'd like to, you know, get more of her stuff because it really fits in with what we have here in the household. You know, really good artwork. Anyhow, let's move on to Brazil. And Brazil, if you have something you'd like to share.
All right. This other piece is called As the Drum Beats. Echoes through the mountains a sound, moves and breathes in the wind. Shadows cross as if in a hunt for salvation. Souls that cried, buried in the dirt, comes alive in desperation. Hearts beat as cymbals clasp. The race has begun, and we dance. Our feet move, hands praise and gave praise. The ancestors call our name. Be driven by purpose. Be driven by creativity. Be driven by your faith. Be determined to cross the river of fear, of tribulation, of lack. Swim and lift your head up because your struggle is not in vain. Strive to win. Write your story. Read it in your mind. Speak your word and your truth. Don't die, but rise up. Stand up and lift up. Be the voice of your chosen path. Rejoice and be transformed in your mind. As the drum beats, let the earth sing and dance with you as your feet stand unmovable, unshakable, and unbreakable as the drum beats.
Nice. Appreciate you. As always. Now I'm happy to tell us about your podcast. What should we be looking out for?
All right. It's basically with art and poetry and inspiration, what my journey was like, what came up. How it unfolded. So it's just basically that. I still have to talk to Chris regarding like an intro, something.
Mm-hmm.
And
what days is coming on Saturdays, right? Is it coming on Saturdays?
Yeah, it's half an hour from 11:30 to 12 on Saturday. Starting January the 6th.
All right, excellent. Starting January the 6th. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Excellent. Best of luck to you. Best wishes to you. We'll certainly tap in every time we get a chance to. And will it be interactive? Will you have people calling in or coming on like this, or you're not sure at this point?
Yeah, I can reach out to one or two who wants to be on. But people are so, some people are so it'll be like, I just have to know who I want on.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
I highly recommend that you do that. Yeah.
Yeah, because not everybody is going to be like, some people will be kind of, some of them might be funny, some of them might be like, oh, Lisa interviewing me, why should I be on her show?
Yeah, all that.
It have some, people mindset, is their mindset is very shady, and I can't be bothered. So you just have to know who you're bringing on your show.
Well, remember, it's your show. You handle it, make you keep it going the way you want to, see it happen. Experiment a little bit, see if that fits. If it doesn't fit, change the channel. Yeah. So but you have a name for the show yet?
It's called the Powder Room.
Power of the Room?
The Powder Room.
That is so cute.
Powder Room. Got you. That's right. That's your name, Powder Room.
Yeah.
Lazille Powder. Absolutely. That's great. That's really cool. So, Ro, I've been dying to ask you the origins of your glasses. Very unique, very distinctive. Tell us about these glasses.
Oh, my glass. Oh, well, these are actually my nap glasses. I forgot to change them up. All right, my old glasses. I don't know. I just feel like if you wear glasses, they should say something.
Okay.
Yeah, these are my old ones, my computer glasses. So
computer glasses. Okay.
Yeah. My logo is a big pair of glasses.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, and it's funny because I went to the eye doctor. He told me I had baby cataracts, and he says, once they get to be mature cataracts and we can remove them, you may never have to wear glasses again. I was like, oh, sad.
That's cool.
Yeah, I love glasses.
Good stuff. Let me see what we got here. Oh, 8:30. Okay, great. Man, I'll tell you. I don't know, maybe it's just me. There's a number of things going on. Again, don't forget that we do things at the State Museum a few times a year. In fact, this year we had 6 beautiful programs there at the State Museum. Martin Luther King holidays coming up. You have Black History Month coming up. Yeah, Poetry Month. We have the Juneteenth. We have, sometime in October, we did a retreat, and that's something else we hadn't talked about. We need to get back to those things. Doing a retreat with Elizabethtown College and Jesse Waters, who's executive director there for the Bowers Writers House. And we hope to be back in the saddle with Elizabethtown. I did meet with the film director, by the way. He obviously knows his stuff, and he's interested in doing a documentary on the Writers Workshop. I'm interested in doing it, and he sounds like the man with the plan that can make all this happen. And so we're sitting down talking about how to get this thing done. But yeah, I think Dan's going to be real good for us in terms of actually producing this video. I have some ideas in mind already, but I'll share with him. And I'm sure that the rest of you may have some ideas as well too. But the main objective, the main goal is to get it out. The main objective is to get it out, make sure that it's widely, distributed. And then our task will be to hunt down those venues that might be very receptive, or those bookstores, whatever, very receptive to our anthology. Okay? So that's kind of like where we are right now, folks. Yeah. Anything for the good of the order, Ro? You haven't read the second time. Can you read something for us?
Sure. I feel like we have this running theme since we've been talking about creativity. We've been talking about endings. This one is all about creativity. It's called A Pot on the Stove.
All right.
It sits simmering slowly on the back burner of the mind. Leaving the seat of contentment to stir its contents brings the creator a blissful release of emotions. Creating can compare to nourishing our bodies with the food of the earth. Creation nourishes our minds and rekindles our tired spirits. The process requires a tender touch, a mind and a heart bent on patience and fortitude. Get up now. Put that pot of yours on the stove. Let it slowly simmer until it's perfectly marinated into a rich, delicious concoction that mesmerizes every fiber of your being. Ebbing slowly from the tip of the brush, chipping the marble to recognizable form. Go on now. Give us all your truth. Be the wordsmith that delivers tantalizing prose. The story slowly flows from the crevices of the cerebellum, brewing, sautéing it with a beat from a memory from a while back ago, not rushed to the end, but gently smoothed into a collection of antiquated allegories, speckled across the pages like tears trickling down the face of a young lover who had lost their muse for life. A brilliant mentor once told me a writer isn't a writer unless they write. Write we must, for words explode like rockets of raging verse, overflowing and splattering from our fingertips. The artist takes paint to canvas, molding the depths of joyous, painful granures of color. We sing a song of restless spirits that create words of passion, history, and triumphant moments. Never cease your creation of what gives you restless nights and haunts the inner sanctums of your spirit. Continue in your passions. Go on now. Put your pot on the stove.
There you go. Continue your passion. Go on and put your pot on the stove. That's
Nice.
a nice imagery right there. Put your pot on the stove. Start cooking, in other words, huh? Start cooking. Yeah, good stuff, everybody. Good stuff. Yeah. So what let's dream for a minute. If you had, and I'll start with Lizelle, if you had your way and we were going to create something, or you're going to be involved in something, or you're going to, what would it be for 2024? What's something that you would like to see happen that would be magical? Let's say for yourself as a writer. For yourself as a writer, what would you want to have happen in 2024? But just make your year.
To see myself attending more events and just showcasing my talent and in the art of poetry and in my artwork, to be more out there showing myself. So I would like to see that more. For 20.
Oh, that's in your reach. Because you had a spirit that you would go and you get involved. So that's well within your reach.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Okay. Make it happen. We're gonna keep rooting you on to do that. And then your podcast will be popular and that'll start helping, people start finding you that way as well. Same question to you, bro. 2024. You got a lot of irons in the fire. Your pot's already cooking. Let's hope it doesn't boil over.
Exactly. I'm not adding nothing else to this pot.
Yeah.
We got the carrots, we got the potatoes, we got all that stuff
You
in this
got the
pot.
gumbo.
So just gonna keep stirring the pot with that.
But beyond the pot, what else do you have cooking that you would like to see happen in 2024?
It's funny because I was just talking to one of the associate pastors at my church and some friends of mine about this play I wrote, I don't know, maybe 3 years ago, that's just sitting on my computer that I need to go back into and really tighten it up and add some things to it. But I would really love to see to get back into theater, but to do it as church ministry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would really.
They had a play over at Greater Zion with Curtain Call Ministries with Dr. Felicia Brown Hayward and her husband. And they said, Pat went along with Terry, her daughter Terry, and they said literally it was a spectacular. I saw it on Facebook, the still pictures. But the number of people involved, the quality of the singing, the dancing, the acting, they said it was just out of sight. It was really, really well done. And that's just a small, well, that's a church, that's a huge church, but it's just a one time a year kind of thing that they do, and they do it well,
I've attended
that's
several
certainly
of
within
their.
your reach as well, because you have a beautiful church.
Yeah,
out in
and
Bay Spring.
churches have so much for playwrights that are built in, being a nonprofit.
Mhm.
In fact, it's a little bit easier for them to get licensing for songs.
Yes.
They're, they have the music department, it's the availability of putting it on the calendar and being able to use the resources that you have. But that's just been a long-term dream of mine to get back into theater, but not, I don't want to call it secular theater, but getting back into theater, but using it for ministry.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how Dr. Felicia Brown Hayward and her Reggie are. They call it Curtain Call Ministries.
Yes, they've done some amazing
Yeah.
plays. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've
they
gone
do
to
amazing stuff.
several of them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And there's certainly more than enough room out there for anything really to pop up.
Yeah, and we've always, when they were doing plays and I was doing plays at the same time, like Reggie would say, "Give me your flyer," and I'd say, "Give me your flyer," and so they're a very supportive group of people,
Yeah.
So yeah.
Good. Have you thought about having your own space, your own theater space?
I don't really want my own theater space. Like I said, I would love to do this just for church ministry. Our church right now has a recovery program, and this particular play, I feel like would fit that need. It really is the story of one man's recovery and how one woman helped him to recovery. And as we were talking about plays with very minimalistic sets, this would totally be a very minimalistic set. And literally, it's the cast of maybe 4 people max. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What do you call it? Matchbox theater? Is that what you call it?
A black box theater.
Black box theater. Okay. Yeah.
Minimalistic theater where the set is literally 2 or 3 objects. Yeah, you're really putting your budget into the advertising when you do minimalistic theater, black box theater, where you don't have to have a lot of costuming or you don't have to have a big set, especially if you have a small cast.
Yeah. That's what amazed me about what Reggie and Felicia were able to pull off. Greater Zion is a nice sized church, but they don't have a huge stage area necessarily. But boy, did they have the people commit, and there must have been people from all over the city here. It's not the capital region, because that's how many cast members they had. I mean, they were loaded down And I thought someone's going to get lost in the fog here, or just not, it's just going to fall apart. There's so many people. They made it work to perfection, So I can, Matchbox is, it's a great tool, great venue if you have the right acting and
Well,
stuff.
it's black box because typically black box theater it's a black box, literally. The stage, the floor, everything is black. Mm-hmm.
Good stuff. Well, I hope that it happens. I don't hope, I know it's going to happen for you, because you had the skill, you had the will, and you certainly had the space if your, pastor's okay with it and cool with it.
I had mentioned it to him, like, I don't know, when they first came, would you ever consider doing theater for ministry? And he said yes. And he's very receptive to new things. It's just like putting it on the calendar because you do something of that magnitude. It does take you, molding your church calendar to something like that, because I would love to use, the congregation as I wouldn't have to outsource for cast, and that's the big part of it, is getting people to commit, because that kind of theater takes a lot of rehearsal time.
It does, yeah. I never forget Sharia Ben did a piece, not this year, I think it was last year she did it. And Pat and I went down, and it dawned on us that 2.5 hour play, it was definitely 2.5 hours. They didn't have that many, scene changes, so to speak. Everything changed right in front of your eyes. It's relatively small cast considering, how much time was put into this. But Sharia herself was on the stage about 95% of the time. That's a lot of lines to remember. And she did it seamlessly and flawlessly,
She's amazing.
Say it again.
I said, she's amazing.
Yes, she is. She's absolutely amazing.
Very talented woman. Very talented. I had at the end of the Black Nativity, me, Janet, and Maria got to say a few words with the photographer. And I had said, like, I don't think Sharia could give us a bad piece of theater if she tried. She has just perfected her art. She really has. Yeah, it's really good. Hey, you still with us?
I'm trying to be. I tell you, I'm so.
You needed to do what I did. I came home from school and I said to Theo, I was like,
my goodness.
I just gonna have, the body is saying no. It's saying, it's
My
like,
body was, yeah. I started 5:30 this morning, and actually after this, I have a 9 o'clock. We have a program. Yeah, we have a program on Sunday at Gamut Theater. That we have 2 young people who will be representing the Writers' Workshop, be doing poetry. And so I'm coaching them on their presentation. Lark Daniels, who is a great, phenomenal African dancer. Her son was a AXO poet, and also came on the Writers' Workshop a couple times on a Friday night, if you remember, Savion Johnson. And then also her daughter, who's only 13, she's been dancing for the Winterman for a long time now. So I have all these pictures of her as a very young girl when they have performed for the Writers' Workshop. Anytime we had programs down at the State Museum or the Kwanzaa and other things, And I'm telling you, I've been pushing it all day, from over at the hospital to everything else under the sun. And then I sat in this chair and listened to this wonderful poetry, and all of a sudden I was like, crash time.
Rest somewhere in between all these events that you're doing.
Oh man, I'm telling you. And then this little cold that I had was taking it out of me too. The day I taught for the University of Pittsburgh, we do the social workers and child welfare workers, and that was from 9 until 4 today. And I always enjoy those classes, but to take it out of you, because I had 16 students, and it was fast paced. You're moving quite a bit, so it is what it is. That's all blessings as far as I'm concerned. But at the same time, as you get older, unless you stay in shape and eat right, which I don't, it starts catching up with you. I'm telling you, it starts like boom, boom, boom. I know.
You see me.
I know. I was driving past Dunkin' Donuts the other day, and also my car just pulled in there. I was like, what are you doing? I mean, took me right up to the counter.
Yeah.
Put too darn those apple fritters inside my car,
You just
pushed
don't
them
know how to
inside my
get there, do
mouth,
you? Hmm.
made me drink some coffee along with them. I'm like, what is going on here? I'm having cactus.
I
It
know
is
how
what
that
it is.
does. Hmm.
Yeah, it is. But anyhow, sorry about that, folks. I didn't mean to those just make sure I'm still alive, that's all. Excuse me. What other things are coming up? Things we hadn't talked about. Anything on the national scene or state scene? Any activities or events coming up? I see where there's a movie coming out that sounds pretty interesting. This week, it started this evening with the great actor, excuse me, Jeffrey Wright. I don't know if you know Jeffrey Wright. He first burst into the scene doing is it Basquiat, the great artist, painter, and he's a young African American genius. And then all of a sudden he died of whatever, and he
A little
portrayed
bit
that,
on this
and I
one.
think he won an Oscar for it, or at least was nominated. But anyhow, he's been in so many different productions. Once you see him, you know him. But they've really been pushing this movie. They've been saying it's called The American something. It has an awful lot of African Americans in it, I know, but it's not necessarily an African American movie. But it's one of these kind of ensemble movies, and they're really pushing that. American Pie, American Life, or something. I don't know, something like that. But I'm
I
looking forward
watch
to that.
very little TV, so I probably wouldn't have seen it advertised.
Yeah, it was a commercial kind of thing, but it's going to
Okay.
be in the theaters starting today. It's supposed to start it today in the theaters nationwide. So they're saying a lot of Oscar buzz. I'm just waiting to Color Purple myself, but
Yeah.
that sounds pretty interesting too. Yeah. But anything else coming up? Nazil, that was an amazing. I like the picture. I'm glad you shared that with you at the Kwanzaa program up in New York there, right? Yeah, yeah, good stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And they
that's
celebrated early like we did, huh?
oh, I don't know if you remember, what's his name? Oh gosh, he was at the Juneteenth last year. Let me
Oh,
see.
in New York?
He came with his son last year. So he saw the presentation and he reached out to me. Let me see if I could get his name. Like
Okay.
Maurice
Maurice Henderson.
Williams. Yeah.
Maurice Henderson.
It's Henderson or Williams?
Oh, wait a minute. Maybe you're talking about someone different. Is he from Philadelphia?
No, he is from Lebanon. Is Lebanon or something?
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, so he saw the
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
yeah, he is tall, kind of light skin, and he have a little
Yes.
son.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he reached out to me and asked me to come to the event on the 15th for Juneteenth.
Oh, nice. Okay. Excellent.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Good, good,
So
good.
I'm not sure where Lebanon is, but
Well, Lebanon is it's not outside of Harrisburg, but it's not far from Harrisburg.
yeah.
What do you think, Ro? Lebanon's probably about what, 20 minutes, 30 minutes? No, yeah, about that.
Probably about 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's all. In fact, Maria James's father has a
Mhm.
gift shop there in Lebanon at one of the markets. You know, he has an African shop. I don't know if he's still doing that or not.
I don't know if they still have the shop, but I know he still has the African garb.
He definitely has all the African artifacts, and
Mhm.
he had a lot of stuff up at the Kwanzaa Festival.
I didn't manage to make it over there to see him this time.
You know what? I didn't really either. I helped him to pull him in and set him up, and then
Mhm.
helped break him down. But I saw the pictures, and I was like, oh, I mean, you have a
Yeah, I
big
saw
display
them
over
from
there.
my table, but I want to go over there and see him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I missed a lot of people. I was kind of, doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But Miss Julia Mallory came in and she had paintings. I didn't know Julia painted.
I
And
did
so she,
talk to Julia.
yeah.
She does covers too, so
Oh, she does
yeah,
covers.
she does
Okay,
cover. I was telling
nice.
her about
Okay.
some of my clients when we get to that point.
Uh-huh.
You know,
Let
I
me look
said
at the time here.
it's
Be
all about
mindful.
creating that circle. It's 850 of like supporting each other, like
Uh-huh.
wow, like Do you do covers? Yeah, like, so, starting this business and thinking about the people that I have known for years and what they're doing, and being able to say, okay, to my client, I have somebody who I think could help you in this department, So that part to me is also exciting.
Yeah. That's something that we need to do a better job. And that's why I really wanted to point out the sister here, the Grace Publication, because that's what she's done. She's trying to bring people together with if you're an editor or a writer or publisher or whatever, she has this directory that she put out so that we could meet each other and then hopefully, use each other's services and talents. That's the only way we're going to ever get it done in our community, that we try to get our dollar to circulate in our community more than a half an hour, like other communities do. Their dollars circulate for 33 days and all that kind of stuff. Instead, ours circulate for about 4 hours or less. And then we right down to the store to buy something that we don't need, and not from our own community. That's amazing. But that's just the nature of the beast. That's what's been going on. Got to be careful about that. Anyhow, Brother Chris, one more for the good of the order, if you have another video, and then I'm going to ask Sister Rowe and Sister Lazille if they have one thing that they want to lift up before we go off tonight. I hope to see everybody on Sunday. I'm looking forward to it. I'm telling you, you don't want to miss it. It's going to be a great program called, why do I keep blanking on the name of this darn program? Anyhow, here it comes again. Thank you, Chris. There it goes. We find a way or make one. We find a way or make one. It's Sunday, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. It's free at the State Museum of Pennsylvania. And you'll meet a phenomenal artist and Dr. Yamoja Small. She's also she's also a poet as well as an educator. And you do want to meet her. This sister is very Afrocentric, knows her stuff, and is good. And then also we're honoring 8 outstanding women. Ro Brady, who's on tonight, is one of the people being honored. You have Juliet Mallory, Sharia Ben, Nancy Mendez, Wendy Noche Onye, Maria Chow. Who am I missing here? I'm missing somebody. But anyhow, they're all going to be there, folks. You definitely want to come out and support these dynamic women. And they will be vending, and that means they'll be selling their paintings, their books, and other things. And a lot of them will be really great gifts for this time of the season. And so, come on out and support this wonderful program and bring your entire family. Listen, bring your neighborhood. Bring the whole city. Come on, just bring the whole city down. Let's have a good time, okay? Okay. And again, it starts at 2 o'clock. But the vending will be open around 12:30 until 4 p.m. Okay, so you'll be able to come in even before the program starts and meet our outstanding honorees and buy their works and everything. Okay, check it out, whatever you do. And don't forget, we are on every Friday night right here on The Voice, 17104 Harrisburg, with thanks to Brother Chris Thomas and his wonderful family and all that they do to support, indie broadcasters like myself. Is that a thing, Ro? Indie broadcasters? We're independent broadcasters. So
works for me.
It works for me too. I'm gonna have to use that. Brother Chris, if you have something, if you can bring it up, maybe something relatively short that we could, hang our hats on for the evening.
This is who we are. So proud.
Being African is a feeling of 2 feet beating to a beat with a special ancestral connection. You don't
make it a bit louder.
You are a god. You're a child of the earth who was birthed from strong kings and queens, melanin dipped Nubian. Your strength is like that of a Kilimanjaro. You've got something Tanzanian. You belong to the misunderstood, the men and the women who stood to dance with their chokwe and their kuba on top of their heads. You carry your sweet potatoes and your yam. You do not do breakfast in bed. Instead, you knead your own bread and you feed it to the entire village from your basket of bread. We are families separated by protocol, man-made borders because you saw the need to civilize us. But we will not fight another man's war. You do not know that when the grasshoppers fight, it is for the beneficiary of the crow. You should know that the most dangerous guns are not machines or rifles. They're hate, greed, ignorance. These are serious silencers. Africa is one big home with different tribes that come together as one family. No African is a foreigner in another African country. Who taught you to hate you? These tribes are all pieces which make up one huge flag. Silence the guns, cease the conflicts, and heal the land. So you can sing songs under an acacia tree and lay on sandy beaches where there are beautiful sceneries. Elope to Zanzibar and eat African candy plucking straight from a tree of amarula. Let the sounds of a marimba cause the women to dance in beautiful dance steps as the men flex their muscles that were built from tilling the land. Drop the AK-47 times and refuse to shoot any human, as we will only shoot for stars with love as a religion. We refuse to let the child who was raised by the village become a soldier. Instead, we hold hands in solidarity and stand against wars, civil conflicts, GBV, or any forms of genocide. We choose love, hope, dreams, creativity, intermarriages, beautiful traditional ceremonies, our heritage. In Kwame Nkrumah's words, Africa is one nation, one continent, and one people. Africa is us, so hold on and silence the guns.
Amen. Beautiful. And I like that from the very beginning. Smash poetry. I saw that heading there. I guess that's the site that comes from. Smash poetry. Very good. So I know we have a few minutes left, just a few. And I really want to thank these two only two powerful sisters for coming on. 1 minute each. Give me something, Ro, to say, and also Dazil, give me one minute. Go ahead. Anything.
Be blessed. Have a wonderful holiday. And remember, your words are powerful.
And the people can reach you at
IG is Ro the Literary. My webpage is Ro Writes for You. Ro Brady Productions or Ro Brady Productions on Facebook.
Fantastic. And Lazille, how can people reach you?
They can reach me on IG Powder Room 49. And also, Facebook has my name, Lisa Powder.
Lazille Powder. And you will have a broadcast starting on January the 6th.
Yes.
At 11 a.m.
11
right here with The Voice.
Yeah.
17104. That's good stuff. Yes. All right.
Thank you.
So I can't wait to hear the first word spoken. See what it's all about. This is good. Well, listen, it's nap time, so I'll be seeing everybody.
Go to bed.
I appreciate y'all coming on tonight. Thank you so much. I'm glad I just about made it through. I thought I was going to make it, so I'm like, I'm fighting it. But listen, y'all, hang in there. Keep writing whatever you do, as in the words of Chucky Pitts, our brother who has moved on to the next level. He always said, "Write on." And I always thought that was great advice. So write on, okay? I'll see you next time here on the Writer's Wordshop. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night.